Internally in our program, obviously been a real busy week, particularly with school, just finishing up our academics. About half our guys are done. Other half are just kind of finishing some stuff up, and we have some guys going all the way through to tomorrow with some exams. So started a little bit on Tuesday with some very light things. Yesterday kind of had a practice, and then today we're kind of right back into it, but still a little sensitive to the guys that have some academic stuff to kind of finish up. So always an unusual week in exams week as far as the balance between preparing for your upcoming game and also just making sure these guys all have the right time and space to focusing up on finishing the semester strong. So far, the grades and feedback we've gotten has been very good. Health-wise, everything remains the same. No new injuries or anything to report. Connor McDougal did practice yesterday. Plan on practicing again today, but nothing as concrete to kind of report as far as like what that means from a game perspective. Have spent a lot of time this week just focusing on ourselves and trying to improve on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And then today now we'll start with some of our specific preparations for Arizona. But I'm a little hesitant, and we're a little hesitant to go into that. The last couple of weeks, we've really spent a lot more time on ourselves than we have any of our opponents. Obviously, going into a game, you're going to do what you need to do as far as the particular personnel on the other side and some things they may do offensively and defensively in response to what we do. But for the most part, we've really been trying to just hammer home our self-improvement, our growth as a team as we kind of continue to progress throughout the season. So that's kind of been where our emphasis has been. But as I say all that, we are starting on Arizona today and are going to prepare as much as we can for them within reason between now and Saturday. So just a quick little update on where things are at.
What's the latest with Sam? He posted a message saying, "I'm back." Is he back with the team?
I think when Sam left, it was a mutual decision between the two of us, and I think at the point that Sam returns, it'll be a mutual decision between the two of us, and that is not official by any means.
When you say mutual decision, does the team want him back?
I think really right now that's between me and Sam. It was, each player I think has their own journey in life and with our team. And right now, and when Sam made the decision to take some time, it was something I was fully supportive of. And whenever or if ever Sam rejoins our team officially, it'll be that same decision.
He's participating in drills, though?
He did practice yesterday.
Will he practice today?
He will.
Is it tough to bring someone back into the fold that leaves for various reasons type deal and bring back in?
It's a unique situation. I wish there was a playbook. I wish, I'd been through something like this before. All I can do is just kind of manage the situation, yet lead this team to the best of my abilities. And right now, that's just basically going to be continuing to talk to Sam and kind of decide when that time may be right or may not be right.
Do you anticipate him playing Saturday?
It's really premature to even talk about Saturday, but I wouldn't suspect so, no.
With Arizona, you said preparing for him. DeAndre Ayton, a big guy. How do you prepare for someone like that with the lack of size that you guys are facing right now?
Yeah, very impressive. I remember back at Iowa trying to prepare for Greg Oden, and it was very similar. They're just such outside the norm players that you're going to see over the course of a season, over the course of multiple seasons, and he's just such a special athlete. I thought Oden might have changed the game a little bit more defensively than he does, but offensively, he's superior to what he was able to do on the offensive end of the floor, and that's really to me where we have to really worry about him just being able to have very explosive nights and both scoring wise and rebounding wise. So we have our work cut out for us. Obviously, you watch some of these other teams play against them, and it's a little bit hard to relate to just because they have considerable size as well. Our lack of size is going to be tested, and we're going to have to play really hard and execute the things we want to do with not even a little margin for error, zero margin for error.
Well, Jordan, you really did turn things around this last game. How did you execute that and turn things around and keep this a trend and you keep your game?
We've spent a lot more time focusing on ourselves. I thought early in the season we were spending a lot of time on our opponents, and that was probably a mistake on my end. And I think it prevented us from kind of continuing to get better. Then all of a sudden you lose some games and you realize, you know what, you weren't where you were supposed to be. And we've really just gotten back to spending more time on ourselves, our offense, our defense, our rebounding, our individual improvement, and let that kind of the games and the opponent take care of themselves a little bit. And that's all this entire week has been so far. Today will be the first day we even start to discuss Arizona. But up until today, it's been all about just improving ourselves. And we need to make that a theme definitely the rest of the season.
Connor was full go at practice yesterday.
He was.
Is he today the full go after the full practice yesterday?
That's the plan right now.
He hasn't reported to you so far that you've been told any injury, like any.
No, I talked to him about an hour ago, and we did workouts this morning, and he was good there. And the plan as of an hour ago was it's full go again today.
So how many full goes before you're comfortable giving him full minutes?
That's a great question. We actually spoke a little bit about that yesterday. I think given our roster and the balance, he's probably looking at more minutes than maybe traditionally someone like that would get coming back. I mean, just because of the lack of depth we have up front. So I told him I don't suspect if he was cleared he'd play. And aside from whatever may be going on with his foot, just as far as bringing a guy into the fold, if we brought a guard into the fold right now, I think it'd be a little bit harder to kind of take minutes away from other guys. But right now, I think just with our lack of depth up front, he's walking into a minimum of 10 minutes, just right off the bat. So, again, depending on how he is physically with those minutes and what that happens to be, I don't think he really has anything to worry about him taking 4 to 6 games to earn all his minutes back. There's a lot sitting there right now, particularly with Vlad over the last week or two just being under the weather.
And when do you think, is it a game time decision before you know 100% if he's back? Or?
I'd probably say going into tomorrow, I think, yesterday was his first full practice. Today will be another second full practice. And I think maybe going into tomorrow into Saturday, I think we'll have a pretty good idea of whether, hey, let's go do this, or B, let's hold off a little longer, or just kind of where that discussion goes. But we really haven't gotten into the specifics of it yet.
But you wouldn't change anything. I think you're saying if he's in there, you're not just going to kind of protect him, or you're not going to do anything just to throw him out there for 5 fouls.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, no.
I mean, if he's in, you're going to do what you're doing.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you expect a high-scoring game on Saturday? Both of you guys, both teams are able to put up points.
If you just look at their scores, it's kind of been a little bit all over. They've had some 90 to 80s, and they've had some 66 to 60s, so I think they have the ability to play fast. They've shown that. They've gotten out in transition. They've shot some quicker shots, some threes, and been explosive, and they have the ability to do that. And they also have the ability to kind of slow it down and execute in the half court and really utilize their size. How they want to respond to us and how we play means it could be a very up and down game, or they could kind of do something similar to what New Mexico State had done, which is break the press, bring it back out, and really try and execute in the half court. So NC State's probably the closest thing they've seen to us. And I think NC State did some things that bothered them, and then some other things that didn't really bother them. So, it'll be kind of over the course of the game. We're going to do whatever we think we can do to kind of give ourselves the best chance to win. And obviously that maintains playing our style of play, which we'll do as well.
Breaking the press, half-court defense, you think you guys are a little bit more prepared for that? Are you feeling a little bit more confident now?
I hope so. We're getting a lot more reps there. New Mexico State didn't score against the press the entire game. They had 0 points against the press. They just brought it back out and tried to score on us in the half. I thought our field goal percentage defense was okay or decent. It was rebounding that hurt us, and that's the issue with getting caught up in a lot of half-court possessions, is it kind of, maybe shows a little bit of our lack of size, and that would happen in this game as well. So as much as it is about not getting broken in the press, it's also about making sure we don't let them get their advantages, which in a half-court possession sometimes they'll be able to accentuate as well.
Talked about Sean Miller just playing this game and getting the series going again. I want to ask you, is there a future for this series to continue?
We talked about it as soon as I got the job. I don't know if there's an immediate future for it. I don't know if they have room in the next 12 months, but I do think over the course of the next few years, it's something they're open to doing. But that was one of the first calls I made when I got here is, can we continue this? I don't know if they have room in next year's schedule at this point to get us in, but from what I was told then, but I believe we had talked about maybe being able to do it again down the road 2 years from now, 3 years from now, et cetera.
How familiar are you with the history of why this series ended?
I've heard about it, especially over the past week or so, from a lot of different people and fans around here with Lute Olson. And obviously, I was talking to Tim Floyd a couple days ago. We were talking just about basketball in this region and trying to keep all these series alive, and just being able to get this one going with UTEP again. Obviously, having this one with Arizona again, having BYU back here, and hopefully that'll be the start of something. Maybe able to get something going with Texas Tech again. I think it's really important just for the vibrancy of basketball in this greater community, not even Albuquerque, for all of us to kind of be playing each other. I think it behooves us all, particularly in this time of challenging attendance and challenging competition with other things to get our fans in the building. We all need to be looking at this in our own best interest. So really thankful to Coach Miller to obviously doing this. He's done it with all these teams in the region, and it takes a lot to do that. There's a lot of coaches in his position that would not play this series, and they would not play the UTEP series, and they would not play the New Mexico State series. And you have to tip your cap to him to doing that. I'm very thankful and hopeful down the road we can do it again.
You get resistance from Chris Beards and Dave Roses and some of these other regional
I've just gotten here, so I'm trying to kind of work that out. I know what it was like in New Mexico State, and there was resistance everywhere. So, here, hopefully, maybe there'll be some more opportunity to do those things. Obviously, BYU coming down and playing the exhibition game I thought was great. Tim Floyd was at UTEP and immediately signed off in a new 4-year series. So we're going to continue to explore all these options of regional opponents to kind of bring these games back. It's really like the old WAC games and stuff like that. And hopefully those other teams will be amenable to. I can't control those other coaches and what's going on in their programs and their own personal careers and stuff, and nor am I ever going to pass judgment on it. You just hope that this stuff is bigger than that.
So what would it mean, all that being said, and kind of where your program is right now, what would it mean to be able to beat a team like that on Saturday?
Sure, I think right now we just want to play well and get a win over anybody. It's been obviously a tough go from a wins and loss perspective. They remind me a lot of Maryland from just a straight size perspective. I thought Maryland was really big on the wings and up front, and I thought their size, particularly early in the game, was just something that was just new to us, and it just kind of overwhelmed us quite a bit. So I'm hopeful we're going to learn from that game and take it into this game where Arizona isn't going to overwhelm us off the bat, and we'll be able to play a lot better. Obviously, being at home, I think, will be good for us as well. And we're going to have to shoot the ball well. That's just the reality of it. I don't think we can go into a game like this and play a perfect basketball game and not shoot the ball well. We're going to have to play a perfect basketball game and shoot the ball well in order to give ourselves a good chance to win.
Do you think this team has that spark? I mean, I've watched you guys in practice. You guys make shots. I mean, if it just comes together, is it just all about consistency?
Yeah, I think so. I've talked a lot about it. I think we've just yet to kind of put it all together at once. I think over the last however many weeks, couple of weeks, I don't think we've really played bad basketball. I think we've played good basketball. But for our team, our margin for error is so small that we have to play great basketball, and we just haven't quite got there yet. We have some guys still trying to just learn, I think, basketball at this level, and just this level being, top 100, now top 25 kind of opponents. And the level of execution, the level of attention to detail, the level of effort you have to exhibit every single play, and unfortunately, when you play some of those other games, that attention isn't there. But we're learning it right now, pretty much on a game-by-game basis.
What did you see out of your team on Saturday, specifically with the rebounding?
I thought it was good. I don't think it was great. I thought it was improved. But again, I don't think it's at the level it needs to be. You're still not going to be able to give up double-digit offensive rebounds to another team, shoot the same amount of percentages, and win a game. It's just going to be hard for us. So, we have to continue to get better there. I'm glad there's been growth, but for us to eventually go and win games that maybe we're not supposed to win or 50-50 kind of games, we have to be great there. We have to be great on the glass.
And you mentioned the learning transition of that. Is that part of Troy and Chris, too, coming from the JUCO, probably feeling like they can get buckets whenever they want and adjusting to
I think so. I think our offense on the ball is really right now a reflection of our offense off the ball. And I think right now just being able to learn and play away from the basketball is something that we're spending a lot of time on. And I think we're getting a little bit of growth, but we're not getting it quickly enough. That's on me. We've talked at length about it really over the past week or so. I just went through a 3 or 4 week period there in the preseason where we didn't spend enough time just teaching and learning just how to play offensive basketball, independent of sets or plays or this person or that person, and we just got a little bit behind, and we're catching back up right now. And a lot of these guys are just really behind, I think, just playing basketball that way. A lot of them come from a background of either just kind of one-on-one play or just a lot of sets and a lot of execution of things. And I don't think there's been a lot of just teaching of the game of basketball and how to come to jump stops and how to space and how to see the next play and how to make one more pass and all the reactions we do when guys play basketball. And that's really what we've spent a considerable amount of time on. I don't know what the immediate return has been, but I think it's gotten a little bit better. And I'm hopeful over the long term that as we continue to play that way and grow that way, we'll become a better offensive team.
Do you feel like that you're still learning how to discovering how this team can score in the half-court offense? And was playing a game without Sam kind of instructive along those lines?
You know, I think we haven't spent probably enough time on it as we probably could. And you know, I have the demons is probably the wrong word. I have the angel on the back of your shoulder. You know, Coach Henson last year always used to just be in me about working on your half-court offense, working on your half-court offense, working on your half-court offense. And I probably wasn't spending as much time on our half-court offense here in the preseason as we should have. We were trying to put in a new style. We were trying to work on our press. We were trying to work on changing a lot of things. And I knew at the time, and I said at the time, we weren't where we wanted to be basketball-wise because we were trying to instill something very differently. But now that we've had a little bit of time to catch up, we've tried to spend a lot more time on that, so hopefully we can get better at scoring in the half court when teams force us to score there.
How hard is it that you're having with so much, like normally by 10 games you got probably 4 or 5 guys, you got your starting lineup now, they're playing 25 to 30 minutes. You don't have that right now. You have maybe one guy maybe playing 25 minutes. How hard is it on you to try to figure this thing out with Logwood and with McDougal?
No question. You know, I don't even necessarily think it's as hard on me as it's as hard on the guys. And I say that from the standpoint of, like, I embraced even when I got here that, hey, we weren't going to be led by 1 or 2 players who were going to be all conference or all Americans or whatever. We were going to empower ourselves as a group. We were going to empower ourselves as a team and with our depth. I think for them it's been a little bit more challenging to understand that, like, no, this is how it's going to work, you know, and like some of these guys do have NBA players and first-round picks or whatever it may be, and the only way we can do this is to do it this way. So I think for me, technically, we knew early on this was going to be the case. That's why we've tried to build the team this way, where it was going to be very team-oriented, defensively, offensively, depth-wise, rotation-wise. I think for them, it's been a learning curve, but because they've probably never been on a team like this before. Most of them were that guy who got to shoot all those shots or score all that points. And now I'm kind of saying, hey, you know what? Take a step back, make it about everyone else beside you, and let's do it this way. And I think for them, it's been an adjustment process. And when you're losing, it's hard to continue to say, okay, let's continue to do this way. So it's really challenged our culture. It's challenged our commitment to the team, but we still practice very well. And that's really all I can control at this point, how hard and how well we practice. And I feel really good about how we are there. If that starts to slip, then I'll start to get a little bit concerned, but I'm not going to let games against top 25, top 100 opponents right now really sway me one way or the other. I want to continue to pound away at this thing and develop it and pick our heads up at some point and see how we're doing.
So looking to the future, do you feel like you're getting the recruits that you need, particularly to replace maybe a player like Sam, who may or may not be here?
Yeah, I feel great, and particularly the recruits we've had have just loved the way we've played offensively and defensively. So feel really good about the kids that are committed, and they're bought into how we're going to play and what we're about. They're seeing it firsthand, the minutes players are playing, the amount of players we're playing, how we're playing. So I feel really good about that going forward, and I feel really good about the kids we've added. They're perfect fits for what we're doing, and I still feel good that we're going to add a few more that I think are exact same scenarios. Great fits for how we're doing what we're doing as a team style wise, and then obviously talent wise, really improving that as well.
Coach, with a packed crowd, excited.
Henry, you're under the weather. You got me nervous, man.
I know, man, but I'm fighting.
You're delivering on Saturday, right?
Amen, baby. Hit a few shots early, play some mean D in your heart. Can you beat Arizona on Saturday?
You know, we're going to watch NC State today, and NC State is the closest thing they've seen to how we play, Henry. So if we play the way they did with the energy they had and really make the game the way NC State made it, which was up and down and a little all over the place, it negates a little bit of their size. Obviously, Arizona still has a tremendous talent, and they can still make shots in a game like that. It's not like you just play a game like that and win by 40 points. Some things are going to have to go our way. We're going to have to stay out of foul trouble up front for sure, and we're going to have to make some shots. But if we do all those things with the power of the pit and the power of Henry T, we'll be right there, man. Thank you.